It all started with the chase.
Give me all his money!
Wait a second.
Return to the Mac. Get it what it is, what it is, what it is, what it isn't. Looking for a better way to get up out of bed instead of getting on the internet and checking a new hit. Me get up. First shot, come strut walking. A little bit of humble, a little bit of cautious. Somewhere between like Rocky and Cosby's in the game. No.
Forget it.
Where am I?
But then Jonathan remembered back to a talk he had heard about augmented reality.
Today, I am gonna talk about augmented reality.
Augmented reality?
You said something about augmented reality?
I did it. I said it.
Augmented reality.
What? Huh?
Augmented reality, a view of the actual world while incorporating inactual stuff that is not real, using computer-generated technology to alter sound, video, or other aspects. Still don't get it? Well, what do these things have in common? Well, I'll tell you one thing. They're all related to augmented reality. Even this. So, before we talk anything about augmented reality, let's first define reality. Reality is pretty much anything that you see in the physical world. So, whether it be signs, well, not necessarily this, but the people you talk to. And even this. And you may not believe me, but these two just keep fighting in my backyard no matter what I do. But you're probably thinking, that's virtual reality. But it isn't. Because virtual reality is replacing reality with those unreal things. So, if you think back to those things like SimCity, you're replacing the real world with computer-generated software, or things that are not exactly real. Generally, this happens in role-player games, like Minecraft, are not augmented reality.
What?
So you're probably like, well, if that's not augmented reality, what is augmented reality? And I'll be like, hey, that's a good question. Here's an answer. Well, augmented reality, in simple terms, is pretty much the mix between the virtual and the real world. And as we established, the virtual world is computer-generated software, anything that's not real that replaces the real world. And the real world, well, is everything else that's being replaced in the virtual world. And generally how these things come together is in this form, for an example. So, take this canyon. Well, I know I'm in the canyon, but how would I know that I have to take or continue left and not go right? And how do I know that I have 35 minutes left? This is a perfect example of augmented reality because you're incorporating the GPS system, which is the virtual aspect, into the canyon or the real or the physical world. And as you can see, the virtual aspect is enhancing the real world aspect, and this is a really good example of augmented reality. But you're probably like, hey, if it's just combining the virtual world with the real world, then I have lots of things that are augmented reality. So let's clarify a few things. First of all, Photoshop is not augmented reality. So no, photoshopping yourself next to Michael Jackson or Obama or any other person you deem as famous or desirable to be photoshopped next to. Sorry, but that's not augmented reality. And movies. Movies are not augmented reality. I mean, you're just seeing them, but that's not reality. Yes, you might argue that it's a documentary. Documentaries are real, but sorry, that's not seeing the physical world in real time. And augmented reality does not include TV shows. So your TV shows like Lost, Survivor, Friends, Simpsons, I don't know, French cuisines on how to cook escargot. Sorry, that's not augmented reality because that's not real-time reality in the first place, as in movies. And the reality is not necessarily being altered by digital software. So it's not reality in the first place to deal with, and the software that is altering it is not altering reality, so it can't be augmented reality. And finally, video games are not augmented reality because, well, what you're playing on is computer generated software, which isn't the physical world and is not necessarily reality. Unless, of course, you want to delve into the aspect that some people believe that the video game is their reality and that what they're playing to control it is the virtual reality, but we'll talk about that in a later class. So for the time being, stay way clear out of these if you're thinking about augmented reality. So you're probably like, if that's not augmented reality, then what is? Help me out, Professor. Well, let me help you out here. So augmented reality enhances the real world. So you had these real world aspects of the canyon, and adding the GPS system on, adding the navigation system on, enhanced it by allowing you to know where you were. And obviously the virtual aspect was the GPS, the arrows, the navigation pane, the time it took, the symbols, the colors, and all of that is the virtual world. That's computer generated software. But the real world is not being replaced as in the virtual world. In other words, it is being enhanced. And, well, there's the real stuff in augmented reality, but there's also the not so real stuff. So, you guys can see this football game right here. And contrary to what most people believe, the blue and yellow lines do not exist while the players are playing. They're not on the field. People don't go and draw them out before the game starts. No, it's computer-generated software. Sorry to those of you if I've surprised you a bit. But as you can see, the blue and yellow lines aren't replacing the real world. Yeah, they might be replacing part of the grass, you might argue, but actually that's very minor compared to what the real job of it is to enhance the game. Because well, as you can see, the players, the line is positioned so that it shows the location of the oncoming offensive team, whereas it also shows the location of the defensive team, and this enhances this enhances the game because it allows the spectators or the people watching it on TV to be able to understand in more depth what's going on in the game. And same thing applies to the scoreboard. I mean, there's no scoreboard lying in the touchdown zone, although that would be quite interesting to see if there was a scoreboard lying in the touchdown zone. How would you increase the score? But yeah, we'll talk about that later. And the scoreboard is there to enhance the game. The ticking clock, that's to increase the audience suspense, but the players, they have their own nervousness and anxiety to deal with, and they don't see scoreboards in the touchdown zone like we do. But as you can see, this is all meant to enhance the real world or the game. So you're like, yeah, I kind of get this augmented reality stuff, although it's kind of hard to understand, even more than acid-base buffer problems in AP Chemistry. But we'll reminisce about AP Chemistry later for the time being, because you're in college right now. So anyway, you kind of get the gist of this, but you're like, huh, I don't see the use of this. And here's what augmented reality entails. So in case you ever want to go into business, why don't you try considering this option for your business card?
I'm James Alaban. I'm an ActionScript developer. I currently work at Sky Creative in London. In my spare time, I like to build interactive artworks. Currently interested in things like augmented reality, multi-touch, music visualization, and generative art, things of that nature. So I build these things using ActionScript 3, processing, and open frameworks. If you'd like to have a look at my blog, it's jamesalaban.wordpress.com. Okay, thanks for watching.
Very, very entertaining. As you can see, it's a little bit more enticing and drawing and more obviously entertaining than your regular everyday business card. So here's some new toys and new innovations that people have come up with to implement augmented reality to enhance our real world.
And I'm here to unveil our latest effort and most successful effort so far, which is still very much a work in process. I'm actually wearing the device right now, and we've sort of cobbled it together with components that are off the shelf, and that, by the way, only cost $350 at this point in time. I'm wearing a camera, just a simple webcam, a portable battery-powered projection system with a little mirror. These components communicate to my cell phone in my pocket, which acts as the communication and computation device. And in the video here, we see my student Pranav Mistry, who's really the genius who's been implementing and designing this whole system. And we see how this system lets him walk up to any surface and start using his hands to interact with the information that is projected in front of him. You can walk up to any surface, including your hand, if nothing else is available, and interact with this projected data. The device is completely portable and can be...
So, ever thought about how virtual keyboards are a little bit of a fantasy? Well, it's your lucky day. You're gonna have to get one of these on Amazon for about above $100, $200 or such. And the only challenge is you have to use them in low light conditions. But as you can see, it's able to track your position when you type in. And in case you ever want to type on a surface where you don't have a keyboard, this may come in very handy. Another example of implementing augmented reality into technology is the Google Glass, as many of you have heard. But for those of you who haven't heard about it, it implements computer graphics into a little thing on the right corner of the glasses, as you can see on this guy's left side of the face, a little bit of a lump there. And you can say commands, there's speech recognition, and it'll stream. Suppose you want to take a video. You tell the glass, take a video. Pretty straightforward. And based on that, it'll take a video, and it'll stream exactly from the camera right there. So it's almost like it's looking from your eyes. And this is interesting because it's hands-free, and there's lots of room for improvement. And one such example is when such people have been trying to implement Microsoft, the Xbox Connect software into Google Glass so that there's hand gestures involved. So you don't have to say it. You can move your hands in such a way such that the glasses recognize, or the sensors recognize, that you want a certain action to be performed. And now comes the question, what's the point of it all? Why should we care about augmented reality? And what's the deal with it? I mean, is it cool to have virtual keyboards? It's cool to have all this stuff, but what's the point of it? I mean, is it helping in any way at all? And I think you pretty much answered your own question. It is helping you. I mean, yes, you may think, oh, it's making us more lazy, so we don't have to pull out our phones and we can just type on the keypad on our fingers. But I believe there's a lot of room for augmented reality to improve and it be implemented in technology so that it improves people's lives. I mean, if you're able to map out something so you don't have to spend lots of time making a simulation, and you can map it out in air without it makes user friendly a lot. It makes things a lot more user friendly, and in that way, it's catering to those who aren't able to grasp the intricacies of technology. I mean, just limiting to a few people. I mean, one of the big limiting factors for people to not go into technology or be able or interact with technology is because it's too complicated for them to deal with it. And in that sense, I believe it's a lot easier to deal with when it's augmented reality. I mean, it's a lot more user friendly. There's a lot of potential for it, and in my opinion, maybe it's not too much of a fantasy to believe that this may become true.
Moonwalking, and this here is our party.
I know where I am.
Been on Broadway, and we did it all way. Chrome music, I set my skin and put my bones into everything I record to it.
Mom, I'm coming home.
While Jonathan found his way back home, Noah was still lost, having no idea where he was.
Money, stay on my craft and stick around for those pounds, but I do that to pass the torch and put on for my town.
I have no idea where I am.
Chasing dreams since I was 14 with the halfway across that city with the back crush shit. Labels out here, now they can't tell me nothing. We give that to the people, spread it across the country. Labels out here, now they can't tell me nothing. We give it to the people, spread it across the country.
Here we go back, this is the moment, tonight is the night. We'll fight till it's over, so we put our hands up like the ceiling can.